Up with KREM begins now.
Time to rise and shine. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday. I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Nicole Hernandez. We want to get right to our meteorologist, Thomas Patrick, because Thomas, you're talking about a potential for elevated fire danger today, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, because in the summertime, when we get a day that's even a bit breezy, can always elevate fire danger conditions. Well, let's put it this way. In the summer, the fire danger is almost always high in the first place. So it's whether it goes from high to critical levels. That will be the case for Central Washington. Here in Spokane, our winds are a bit breezy this morning, not too bad at the moment, but that is going to pick up later on today for a number of reasons, one of which is the big temperature difference across the state. Just in the 60s on the west side for Seattle versus still in the 80s for most of the inland northwest. So that temperature and pressure difference between the two sides of the state helping to push those winds westerly, and they'll be a bit stronger today, especially for Central Washington.
And taking a look at I-90 in Argonne this morning, things moving smoothly on I-90. We've been taking a look at traffic maps around the region this morning. Looks like things are moving smoothly in most of our areas through the Spokane Valley area and into Idaho as well. We'll keep you updated on traffic and weather every 30 minutes. New this morning, the Spokane County Board of Commissioners unanimously approved more funds to help with the opioid crisis here in Spokane.
$400,000 of the opioid settlement funds will go to services in Spokane, including the sobering triage and transitions program operated by the Spokane Treatment and Recovery Services. The goal here is to help expand access to more immediate treatment services. The county commissioners say this expansion effectively doubles the capacity of the treatment center and is another step forward in tackling the opioid epidemic. The new funding brings the annual operation total to $600,000. This news comes as the state of Washington is set to receive more than $100 million in the coming years as a part of the latest opioid settlement. The money will come from a new $7.4 billion agreement to settle thousands of lawsuits against bankrupt drug maker Purdue Pharma, the producer of the painkiller OxyContin. The state is required to use the money to fund programs that combat the opioid crisis.
Medicaid advocates have new projections on how the Big Beautiful Bill could change Idaho health care coverage. The American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network says more than 40,000 Idahoans could lose coverage if the bill passes as is. Cuts would be in 4 different categories: work requirements, more frequent eligibility checks, new cost-sharing rules, and limits on state funds.
People aren't going to be able to work. People are going to have to decide whether or not they're going to pay their bills, choose food on the table, or whether or not they're going to go and get maybe a screening or health care until it's a real major emergency.
The bill has already passed the House. We're now expecting senators to debate it soon.
Right now, Idaho is investing in transporting undocumented people convicted of serious crimes to ICE detention centers. The State Board of Examiners approved up to $300,000 for the program over the next year. Through the Idaho State Police, Idaho is entering into an agreement with ICE to transport criminals to ICE facilities after they serve their sentences. This all falls under a program allowing state and local law enforcement to do certain work, usually assigned to immigration officers.
The worst of the worst, the people that we know in a high probability they're going to reoffend and we're going to have them back in our system. And those are the ones we want to keep the people of Idaho safe. It's pretty simple.
The move follows an executive order from Governor Brad Little. It prompted a discussion between ISP, Homeland Security, and ICE to figure out how Idaho can carry out President Trump's immigration policies, which he declared a national emergency. While Governor Little says law enforcement and ICE will only deport those with a criminal record, those opposed of this partnership worry this could lead to racial profiling and create more distrust between families and law enforcement. Happening today in a matter of hours, an Ada County judge will hear arguments for and against postponing Bryan Kohberger's upcoming quadruple murder trial.
KREM 2's Brandon T. Jones is live in the newsroom this morning. So Brandon, the potential delay is just one of 2 key issues that will be heard today, right?
Yeah, Tim, Nicole, that's right. Kohberger's motion to delay his trial will also be open to the public today. The second hearing is a closed hearing and will be arguments over his attorney's allegations of alternate perpetrators. So as for the motion to delay, Kohberger's defense pushed for this back on May 20th, citing they want more time to prepare given the large amounts of attention this case has received, arguing a pushed back trial would help with prejudicial pretrial publicity. His team also states the current date would violate Kohberger's constitutional rights, adding death penalty cases require extraordinary measures and heightened scrutiny. The defense also pointed to the recent Dateline episode, calling the coverage highly inflammatory and believe it'll get in the way of Kohberger's right to a fair trial. Latah County prosecutors argue the defense has had plenty of time and resources to prepare, and postponing the trial is unwarranted and harmful to the victim's rights to a timely resolution and justice. Judge Stephen Hippler will also hear arguments over the defense's alternate perps theory. They argue the state received thousands of tips regarding possible perpetrators during the course of the investigation, but solely focused on Cobberger. The state says any attempt to offer or argue an alternate perp without evidence would do nothing more than mislead and confuse the jury and would, quote, be a waste of time. So today's hearing will start roughly around 11:30. With any updates, we'll have coverage across all KREM 2 platforms. For now, live in the newsroom, I'm Brandon T. Jones.
This morning, firefighters are investigating a suspicious fire yesterday on the Cheney-Spokane Road. At this hour, the fire is contained.
Firefighters say this fire burned 2 acres of a 6-acre property, and it destroyed an outbuilding. The brush fire burned about 3 to 5 acres, and the Spokane Fire Department thinks someone started it intentionally. It is just one of many suspicious fires in that same area in the last few weeks. Firefighters were there just last week putting out 2 other suspicious fires. The American Red Cross says people living in areas with wildfires risk should sign up for free emergency alerts from local first responding agencies. Also, have a go bag in place, and in case of any evacuations, make sure to keep personal, financial, and medical records safe.
This morning, a wildfire burning west of Lake Chelan has nearly doubled in size. Lightning sparked the Pomus fire on Friday in the Chelan Mountains. It's burned nearly 800 acres. That's up from 400 this time yesterday. Crews are using an air tanker to scoop water out of Lake Chelan to pour onto the flames. There are no homes nearby, but a portion of the Glacier Peak Wilderness is now closed.
And with that, we want to make sure that we alert you to any fire danger weather conditions across the region. And the winds are going to be decently strong across the region for today, especially for central Washington. The gap winds in between the Cascades can sometimes funnel that wind a bit more strongly. So that's why areas like Douglas and Chelan and Grant County are under red flag warnings today for wind gusts up to 35 miles per hour. Those strongest wind speeds will be during the mid of the afternoon, but outside of those breezy conditions, still a very pleasant and enjoyable summer day with our temperatures into the low 80s.
Well, Juneteenth is tomorrow. It's a federal holiday, so we want to go over what will be open and closed. Spokane City Hall, Municipal Court, and the public libraries will all be closed. Riverfront park attractions, city golf courses, and splash pads, though, will stay open.
In Idaho, Post Falls City Hall and city business offices will be closed. We also want to let you know garbage collection in Spokane and Post Falls will stay on the normal schedule. The post office will also be closed along with most major national banks. They are set to reopen on Friday.
Well, now that school is out for most students, parents, we have a couple of ideas for keeping the kids entertained without breaking the bank.
Some summer activities like a summer camp can be fun, but depending on the camp, there can be a wait list and it can also be very expensive. But experts say don't sweat the big stuff, as the little things you do can make a difference. It's recommended parents try to create a loose schedule for their kids, providing a little bit of structure and plenty of time for fun activities.
Legos or Play-Doh or sidewalk chalk, things that are creative, things that are using their brain to play. We don't play nearly enough anymore.
Visiting a local park can help kids keep them entertained. And to make sure you never run out of ideas, maybe look to the internet for a checklist of fun things to do in the summer. You can also check out your local library. They often have really great summer programs, and also you could just check out a book too. Speaking of some fun activities to do this summer, the city of Spokane is offering free tours of the waste to energy facility. This will give them kind of a behind the scenes look. I'm sure they will love this one. This will allow kids to see the city and how they turn trash into energy. So if you're interested, you can head on over to the city's website to sign up for a tour.
And now that school is out, you can donate any gently used school supplies to any Spokane Public Library. This is part of the school cycle supply drive. You can donate items like reusable pens or pencils, binders, notebooks. All donated supplies will be cleaned, sorted, repackaged, and then redistributed to local schools, organizations, and individuals. And the fact that it's summer vacation is leading us to our wake-up call this morning, because we're asking you a couple of things. Number one, today's National Fishing Day, so we want to know what your favorite fishing spot is. But if you're not into fishing, what are some other fun summer activities you can do with the kids? You are texting us here at 509-448-2000. Some people saying going for a hike, a seafood restaurant, Lake Roosevelt and Mudgett Lake are our favorites to fish. However, a day of fishing any body of water is a good day. I agree with that. The St. Joe River is incredible. We've got a picture of someone fishing in the Puget Sound from Dave in Colfax. Look how big that fish is, Tim.
Whoa.
That's crazy. I know.
Way to go, Dave.
That's it. We're going to end on that one. Keep texting us at 509-448-2000.